1025 The Bone. It is the Mike Calta Show. It's Galvin, Spanish, Carmen, Gio in studio. Hap, Bone TV. Mike out today. Be back in tomorrow, so we'll be back in full effect live. Couple things before we bring Dom in. If you don't have your phone calls in yet, 727-579-1025 or 800-771-1025. Get some free legal advice from Dominic Ferriello. But Spanish and Gio, you sons of bitches, I forgot to do my punishment for you guys because I won Sporkle. I won 3 in a row. So I guess you're off the hook.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
There's always tomorrow. Mike's back.
I know, and he'll have to do it if I win. Or you guys have to do it. I don't know. We'll
Yeah, I mean, I think since Gio played in Mike's stead, he should have to do the punishment tomorrow with Mike and I.
Yeah.
Since he played.
Mike's not going to. I wasn't even here. I'm not doing it. By the way, I said Randy Allen went out to see Metallica for that symphony thing, and he texted me. He said that the MetallicaXX.com site has basically been confirmed. It'll be an announcement for them playing the Louder Than Life Festival next year.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's going to be the thing that they're talking about. So
fun.
I saved you some time. We got it on Tuesday instead of Thursday. Let's bring Dominic Ferriello in, please. Have him come in and sit down. So tonight I'll have to go home and think about what the punishment will be, and I'm sure we'll have an argument about that, whether Mike's going to do it or Gio in Spanish is going to do it. But it's 3 in a row. That's how it goes. So I won. Again, 727-579-1025 or 800-771-1025. Those are the phone numbers if you want to get in. Dom,
Good morning.
how you doing, buddy?
Good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Good. No court today? No.
I've got court this afternoon.
Oh, got the tie in the car?
And then tie. Yeah, exactly where it is. And then I've got a shooting event this Friday. With the Sheriff Sporting Clays. So Chad Chronister has a Sporting Clays charity. So I've got court this afternoon. I've got a DUI matter, criminal matter. I got a few matters. Mm-hmm. And then right after court,
you got matters.
I got matters, man. Let me tell you. And then my father-in-law and I, Mr. C, are heading to Tampa Sporting Clays, do some practice shooting.
Nice.
Team Ask the Dom is going to be ready to go on Friday. I'm shooting with my father-in-law and 2 judges.
Oh, yeah?
So I got a little note for the sheriff. I said, I don't think you want this team to lose and upset 2 circuit court judges. So I'm saying.
Not at all.
Throwing it out there.
Especially judges with guns.
Yes, that's always fun. I like going in front of judges that I know.
Now, when they do the shooting clays, do they say, I order you to pull that?
That's it. Yeah. And then if they miss, objection, repull. But a lot of fun stuff going on. Speaking of my father-in-law, he, if you don't mind, he's got an event at the end of the month on the 27th on a Saturday at the pawn shop. I think something new, Spanish. If Mike isn't back in town or in town that weekend, I know he's out of town a lot. He's got an auto show. There at the pawn shop. So all trucks, cars, motorcycles, all antiques, classic cars. And I know you guys are into that thing. It's really going to be a great event. There's going to be barbecue, and then obviously they've got sales going on and concealed weapons training permits.
Okay.
And a lot of folks, want to get guns and weapons. He does now have the license. He can buy and sell guns on property, and you can get your concealed weapons permits, and you can do a great show. Well, that's all October 27th at Capitol Pawn.
Do it all right there. Get a gun, get your license, get some barbecue.
And what's neat about it is I've been telling Mr. C to do this for a while in the sense that, have weapons there. And he said, well, I want to focus on all the other, he's got guitars, he's got jewelry, he's got all sorts of stuff there, as you guys know. But he finally got the license. Good. And now it's going through the roof.
All right, Dom is here, so if you have some legal questions, you can get them in now, 727-579-1025 or 800-771-1025. Let's go to Nathan. You're on the Mike Calta Show. Nathan, what do you have for Ask the Dom?
Good morning, Dom.
Good morning.
I wanted to ask you if you have an ERISA attorney in your office. I'm looking for an ERISA attorney.
I don't have one in my office. I have one in my network. I think that who would be able to assist you the best would probably be Richard Osborne. He's been on my show before. If you go to my website, askthedom.com, and just say, hey, I was chatting on you with me this morning. I'm leaving here. I'm going to be in the office this morning. I have court in the afternoon, so I can catch up with you when I get back to the office, and I can respond with his office information, phone number, email, and all that good stuff.
Perfect. Excellent. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. There you go. Explain to us layman's what's an ERISA attorney.
Well, what he's doing is he's got like a claims disability. You've got Richard does a variety of different things that would fall into a certain area of law. So I don't know. I think Ozzy's been with me a few times on my show, but I don't think he's been in here. He does all my workers' comp, longshoreman claims, disability, SSI. He does a lot of governmental claims, liens, anything associated with the government, medical expense, disability,
Gotcha.
work comp. He does a subcategory of basically what I do. As I say, I was a personal injury attorney, but I don't do workers' compensation claims. I don't do PIP claims. Those are separate subcategories of ultimately what I do in general auto accident claims.
So you can be a lawyer and be very specific.
Well, it's
law, can't you?
A lot of people, when I talk to people on the air and when they call in, it's like a doctor.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Lawyers or doctors all go to medical school. Lawyers all go to law school. But when let's say you have a problem with your foot, you want a podiatrist.
Right.
You don't want an orthopedic surgeon. You want somebody that specializes in feet, or brain surgery. So you have different subsets, other than being a general practitioner or an MD that kind of does a multitude, like, usually your family doctor.
What part of a lawyer would be the same as being a proctologist?
That would be family law. If I had to guess one.
Let's go to Will. Will bought a home and had some problems. Will, you're on with Ask the Dom. What do you got?
Howdy. My wife and I just bought a house around like 2 months ago, and went through and kind of paid attention to a bunch of details. And one of the things we were looking for was flooding, and not the floods or anything, but nothing was disclosed on the seller's disclosure. But there's a lot of runoff issues and substantial flooding issues on the lot. But it wasn't like disclosed on the seller's disclosure through the buying process.
So your issue is, well, it's not like this issue's going to be an auto accident.
Yeah, be careful.
It sounds like
No, somebody just not wanting to go at green light for that one.
Well, listen, be careful when you're listening on the show. There, you want to be very careful. But at any rate, I got distracted with the horn. You get into the accident. Give me the premise once more time.
Yes, my wife and I bought a house, and the seller's disclosure stated that there were no known issues for flooding or anything, but the property flooded substantially, especially like runoff and stuff like that.
All right. Well, when you did that, the properties are zoned a certain way. So, for example, I have several properties that might be zoned for flooding. Did you look at how the property was zoned initially?
Yeah, it's not in a flood zone, nothing like that. We were very intentional on not getting property in a flood zone to kind of avoid the extra cost of insurance. So it's not in a flood zone. There was no need for there. And then whenever we did the house inspection, everything came back right. It just there's a substantial flooding. It looked like I've had a few estimates and people come out to see what needs to be all done and stuff. And they said it looked like it was graded a certain way prior, like maybe like 5 to 10 years ago. And it was graded improperly, so that all the water like pools. It's almost like a moat around the house, and that wasn't disclosed to us. And whenever we had the inspection, whenever we purchased the house, it was in the middle of summer, wasn't much rain, so we didn't see any standing water or anything like that. So with the past couple months with all the rain and stuff, especially there was like 2 weeks there where there was a substantial amount of rain. We obviously noticed we walked outside and water's up to almost like our caps. And it's not going anywhere.
Well, I think that what you need to do is probably reach out to my real estate law attorney, who's going to be Joe Kalish, because if there is a latent defect, or if they didn't disclose something to you, if it's not listed in the flood zone and you have damages, you might be able to acquire coverage under the title insurance if it would cover that type of thing. Did you purchase this type of insurance coverage on the property?
What type of coverage?
When did you purchase it or acquire the land?
This past summer, we purchased, I want to say, first week of August.
Okay, so it would be title insurance on the sale of the property if there's any issue with a non-disclosure or latent defect. That would be number one. Number two, if the title insurance doesn't kick in because of a non-disclosure, did you have any insurance on the property otherwise outside of the sale?
I'd have to look through all the paperwork. Our realtor kind of helped set up all that stuff.
Okay, well, why don't you go to my website, and I'll send you over to Joe Kalish, help you out more specifically, because you got a lot of fine-tuned points here that I think you probably need more specific help than on air.
Yeah, you can go to the website. You can go to askthedom.com, or if you want to give them a call over there, 813-251-5550.
Yeah. Somebody was just texting me. They said that they love Ozzy, but I don't think I didn't answer the question. ERISA is actually an Employee Retirement Security Income Act is what that is. And Ozzy does a lot of workers' compensation, employee-related issues. So I went right into what Ozzy does, but I didn't answer the question. But that's what he does, so that's why I sent him over there.
Let's go to Dan. Dan, you're on the Mike Calta Show with Ask the Dom. What do you got, Dan?
Hey, guys. Great show today. Just a quick question. I got a neighbor that lives down the street that has a motorcycle, one of the crotch rockets, and likes to go up and down the street at 90 miles an hour.
Okay. Is that it? That's just a statement? There's no question there. I mean, I can infer what your question is, unless we lost the signal. I don't know if he's still there.
You there, Dan?
I think it just cut off right at that point. Gio, did we lose him, or was that his question?
Yeah, well, I know if you lost him, his question, he wanted to know if he could file a police report or what he could do to stop the guy from speeding down his street.
Well, you could. I'll tell you what my mother did. In Lutz, she had a problem with folks racing up and down the roadway, and my mom's something else. She's pretty cool. Without my assistance, she lobbied the county on her own, and I'm not sure how quite she did it, because I was only read in after all this happened, and she had speed, not bumps, they're called speed tables, installed, and that eliminated those folks from zipping up and down the road. So the answer is you can do that. You can certainly report the conduct to law enforcement, and what they'll do is they'll put an officer there,
right,
and then all of a sudden they're going to get, a few tickets, and then that's going to be quite an expensive hobby that this individual is going to have if he keeps getting tickets. So there's a few remedies and recourse there that caller could have. Unfortunately, he dropped the call, but
probably still listening, so yeah. he heard. Let's go to Adam. Adam, you're on with Ask the Dom. What do you have, Adam?
Hey, how's it going? First of all, I want to say my condolences to Mike and his family. I love the show, guys.
Thanks, man.
Also, I was arrested back in 2001. My question is, trying to get a gun permit. And but I was arrested back. It was a felony, but everything was adjudicated withheld.
Okay.
And I was just wondering if there's any way, or how do I go about it? Maybe I can try to get, if I can get a gun permit. I don't want to go in there and try to get one and get arrested.
It's a great question. It's a great question. Here's the answer that I give that I think is the simplest to folks. Is you have a Second Amendment right to have a firearm. You're not a convicted felon if the felony charge you had was a withhold of adjudication. So they withheld the conviction. They withheld the adjudication. You're not a convicted felon. Now, when you want to have a concealed weapons permit, like if you go to Joe's class, my father-in-law, and then you complete the course, and then you submit that to Tallahassee, actually the Department of Agriculture is the one that issues the permits. That is a privilege. Now, a lot of people get that confused with the Second Amendment and the Constitution. The Second Amendment is a right. Having a concealed weapons permit is a privilege.
Because it's concealed.
Well, because it's concealed, and it's a specialized license. Okay? It's not something that's articulated, if you will, within the Constitution. So what you can do is you can apply for it, and they're going to ask you your information and your background. You're going to say, I was arrested for this felony. It was a withhold of adjudication, not a convicted felony. They then can make the decision unilaterally, well, we're not going to issue one for whatever reason of the underlying charge, or if there's anything else going on in your life. they can turn you down and say no. And a lot of people get really upset about that because they say, well, I have a right to a gun. Well, yes, but not a specific license on a gun. It's the same thing with a driver's license. People say, well, I have a right to drive. It says, no, you have a right protected under the Constitution to travel. Nowhere does it say by automobile. So a driver's license is a privilege. And that's why, if you remember me quote the famous movie from the 80s, License to Drive, the Lord giveth and the DMV taketh away.
So this guy, since his adjudication was withheld, he could go and apply for the...
He can have a weapon under the Second Amendment.
Right.
But whether or not he's going to get a concealed weapons permit is in the sole discretion of the Department of Agriculture.
But he won't get in any trouble for applying for it.
No. He's absolutely not, Galvin. Thank you. He's not going to get in trouble for applying. But where you could get into a bit of a pickle is if you don't properly disclose.
Okay.
You just might be able to get it.
Okay. Adam, you got that?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
You're welcome.
Problem.
And by the way, Adam, anybody listening, Reggie Garcia is an attorney. It's been on my show. He's authored a book. He does a lot of gun rights and gun laws. He's wonderful. He's spectacular. He's got an office actually in Tallahassee. If anybody has any gun rights questions or legal issues, that is real specific. I mean, he can spit the statutes off, faster than me. Just go to my website. I'll give you Reggie's information. Great guy.
Dom is in here with us. If you have a question, 727-579-1025 or 800-771-1025. Of course, you can always get him at AskTheDom.com or on Twitter at AskTheDom or his office, which is 813-251-5550. Let's go to Alex, another gun question. Alex, what do you got for Ask the Dom?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a little bit more information about the concealed carry bill that's going to happen next year, because I see you're advertising basically people to go get their concealed carry, kind of.
Well, I haven't read the bill, sir. I don't know what's being proposed. So humbly, I would need to read what is being submitted before I can comment on it. Do you have any specific wording or language in what's being proposed that is concerning to you?
Not really. I mean, they're just very vague on the articles that I've read, saying that they're going to be trying to get rid of it. So, I mean, if they're getting rid of it, are we going to be going to an open carry state then?
Well,
it's just really...
Okay, well, let me caution you on a few things. The articles are going to be driven by the author. So you might have a conservative author, you might have a liberal author. You don't know what their ultimate, end game is as far as the article or the piece. And again, there's nothing wrong with those. That's not the proposed law.
Right, they may be speculating.
Yeah. What I think we need to do is we might need to wait a little longer, maybe get into the 2020 year as we get a little closer to the legislative session, which, by the way, the Florida legislative session really kicks in the first part of the year. So they come back at the tail end of January, and they have a long session that goes all the way to, I think, early May. But I would like to read the proposed legislation, because if I comment on it now, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Right.
And that's the thing with me. If I don't know, I don't know. And that's why I have a lot of attorneys in my network that you'll hear me refer people to that do what the folks need to do more specifically, kind of like doctors.
Yeah.
And if I don't know something, I'll read up on it. I'll educate myself, and then you'll circle back with me on the show.
So, Alex, if you have a question, if you find some literature on it and stuff, you can always send it to AskTheDom.com and see if, you can comment it on then. Thank you for your call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Nicole. Nicole has a real estate question for you, Dom.
Hi, Nicole.
Good morning. Good morning. Love the show. You guys are great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my father-in-law is getting up in age, and he owns a piece of property that he wants to give to my husband, which is his son. And the only problem I foresee in it is that there is a tax lien on the property for taxes that he owes.
How much is the tax lien?
I want to say around $30,000.
Okay. How much is the property worth in value?
Definitely more than that. It hasn't been assessed in a while, to my knowledge, so I'm really not sure the value of the property. But it's a good acre and a half.
Well, let me help you here with this. My first suggestion to your question is I would have that piece of property appraised. Is it just land? Is it vacant land? Or does it have a structure?
Yes, just land.
All right, I've owned vacant land. I still own vacant land, actually. You need to have it valued. Go get it assessed, get a value on it. Because if the value is less than the tax lien, then that's going to already answer the question for dad as well as your son. If the value is more, then the question is going to be how much more? Is it a significant amount? Number one. Number two, the negotiation of that tax lien would be something that I would simply consider with the tax entity or the county, the state, whatever the issue is. And again, I referenced earlier Attorney Joe Kalish. A gentleman called earlier about a real estate question. Joe is
I heard that.
Joe is my real estate attorney, by the way. So a lot of the lawyers you hear me referring you to, I personally use. So if
you've helped me out in the past.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you for calling back. But if I trust these people, certainly you can. And Joe's been in practice over 30 years. I mean, his office is in Carrollwood. And I love him to death. I do bust his chops a little bit. So when you go email me at askthedom.com, I'll give you these lawyers' numbers and emails. Joe always makes me laugh because he still has an AOL email.
I still have an AOL.
Well, but I mean, when you think of it in a context of the law and everybody has, I mean, you as a radio personality, you're not constantly answering legal questions, and people aren't soliciting your services.
Sure.
Your service goes the other way to the folks. So Joe's constantly getting business, and of course with me, I go, Joe, we need to get you a website. We got to get you all jazzed up. He's like, and I love Joe. I said, Joe, you still ride the horse to the office.
So there you go, Nicole. You can email Dom at askthedom.com, and he'll get you in touch with that attorney.
All right.
Joe.
Thanks, guys, very much.
Thank you. All right, we got time for a couple more.
What are you talking? I'm here all hours. The Spanish told me.
Yeah, you're here all hour. You're not on air all hour, though. Let's go to Doug has a question for you. You're on with Ask the Dom. What do you got, Doug?
Hey, Dom. How you doing?
Good.
So, my question is, I was sick last month. I was not able to work for a few days, and it kind of affected my current living situation. But my question is, my property management team disclosed my address, my information to a third party. Is that legal? Is that my permission or consent?
Well, when you say your management team, they disclose it what to a solicitor? Are you getting junk mail? I mean, what exactly is the harm that has?
Well, so pretty much, I was in a hospital. And my manager came to my apartment complex, and she simply walked in and asked for my where do I live and things like that, and they told her. And when I called them back and I asked them, hey, my manager appeared at my home, I found out. How would she know? There's over 500 apartments there. How would she know exactly which one that I live? I did not disclose that to her, nor have I updated my paperwork on my file. I just recently moved there. And
a lot of this information. Well, hey, if you got a good private investigator, sir, they're gonna find your residence. I mean, whatever the unit or apartment is. I mean, that's how people get served. That's how people are under surveillance. I don't know if there's anything nefarious with the fact that they disclose that information to your manager. Maybe they wanted to come check on you because you weren't feeling, I just because they disclosed, hey, you're in Unit 4 in Building 6. All they know, maybe you're there to drop something off. I mean, folks disclose that stuff all the time to leave information in residences. I mean, as long as they don't break in, there's not. I don't deem anything illegal or any. How are you harmed?
So
you're not.
So
you're just upset that they told them.
No.
I mean, that's all right. I mean, if you're upset that they told him, I get it. But I don't think there's nothing legal there that I can surmise.
Because what concerned me is that I went and asked them. I said, hey, I'm kind of alarmed because I moved here so people would know.
What's the question? What's the question? What is your question?
So all right. So my question is, Well, you kind of answer it.
I didn't answer it. You have no issue here. I don't think. I mean, if you want to have a secret lair, then you don't live in an apartment complex that's got 500 people, and that you got an office management that's got loose lips. You know,
they could possibly have your name on the mailbox.
Yeah,
so
go find a mountain cave somewhere and have your own lair. I mean, it starts with that.
All right, we have time for one more.
I don't dodge any questions. Do I?
You want to do family law? You want to do landlord took their money? Or this guy never received his Amazon package. I think that would be an Amazon thing.
That's an Amazon. Well, why don't we do this? We've got Jason Valkenburg coming in tomorrow night show, along with Ben Swig and Nikki DeBartolo. We're talking about Our Happy Divorce, and then Jason will be in. So why don't we just take the family law question as a pretext for tomorrow night's show?
All right. Blake, you are on with Ask the Dom. What do you got, Blake?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. So a few years ago, I got out of a parental thing with a one-night stand. She came at me when the baby was already 6 months old, wanted me to take responsibility, so I did. And then...
Well, let me stop you for a second.
Did you take a DNA test? Did you do a blood test to make sure it was actually yours?
I did. We did the whole 9 yards. Even during the legal battle, it got to the point where I knew that he was being mistreated so poorly that I had to get a guardian ad litem.
All right, so you were the paternity test has you as the father.
Yes, it does.
Okay, all right. So what's your question that you're deemed the father? Did you get any? Because here's if you're not married.
Well, we went through Judge Laurel Lee. She sided with the mother, even though the guardian ad litem had sided with me and told Judge Lee that the baby needed, or my son rather, needed to be put into my care immediately. We tried to fair warn the court system about what was going to happen if they did leave him with his mother. And 3 years later now, we're seeing that exactly what we said was going to happen has happened. Over the past 3 years, he's moved 8 times, and he's moved 6 different schools. It's really difficult for me and my wife, who was completely fine with taking him under our wing and everything like that.
Did you have a lawyer?
We did. We used Calta and Associates.
What county is this? In Hillsborough?
This is Hillsborough.
Hillsborough, yeah, because Judge Lee now is the Secretary of State for Florida.
Right, and see, that's the main concern is because we were literally Judge Lee's last case, so we feel that she kind of like just pushed it off as quickly as she could so she could get out of family law.
I wouldn't say that. And I know this judge, and I know the caliber of the judges in Hillsborough County, and you have a lot of judges that move on to other. Judge Ashley Moody is now our state attorney general, and I know that her last couple of cases were she worked just as hard on those as the first ones, and the same with Judge Lee. I wouldn't say that because I know these folks. And I know how hard and committed they are. I think the facts are unfortunate and difficult, but if you want to reassess, you can certainly file the appropriate motions for the court to relook at the parental agreement. And
I did shortly after the court case, and she denied them all.
You're going to have a new judge now.
Okay.
That's how it works.
And that's another thing. I've talked to unfortunately, because of how much money I spent in the first place, I really don't have too much money for another attorney, which me and my wife were talking about.
Listen, you have to find it. You have to figure it out. Jason takes payments. So if you want to contact my office, askdom.com, I'll give you Jason's information. There's not enough reasons in the world to do what you think is right for a child, and money isn't on the list. You know, it's not. There's really no reason of what you've got to do everything you can.
If you don't mind me asking, so I can't. There's a lot of information that we told the judge in the last.
Well, listen, I'm running out of time here for the morning show. Do you have a final question for me? I mean, you can always call Jason tomorrow night on my show if you have more time. But do you have a final question for me this morning I can tackle for you?
Yes, I do. So my final question would be, what his mother is doing right now wouldn't be classified as harmful to the child's upbringing or well-being, would it? her moving that many times, especially with not telling the court that she has.
That's going to be up to A, the guardian ad litem, or B, a psychological counselor, an evaluation of court ordered by the child. And I'm not a licensed professional in those areas, but that's where you have a file for a motion to modify, and you tell the court, look, I don't think it's healthy or in the best interest of the child that they move 8 times in 6 months, or you move 8 in 6 months and 8 times, whatever the case may be, and that you need to have someone take a look at this, whether it's a guardian or somebody that's of a psychological caliber, and that's where you start.
Call child services?
No, what you need to do, you can call DCF and that they can look into it. I'm not going to tell you can't do that. Of course you can. Right. But I think what you need to do is you need to retain the services of a lawyer and attack this properly. If you're sincerely interested in the child, I think you said a son. Yeah. You know, and God bless you. Listen, God bless this caller, because this is a concerned father who's worried about a child. And there's a lot of fathers, a lot of mothers out there that let the other spouse just go, and they don't care.
Sure.
And this guy's calling, he cares, and God bless him for that. And I'll be more than happy to help if he goes to the website.
All right, thanks, Blake. You can go to askthedom.com and get the information there. And then, of course, Dom will be on Wednesday night with his own show, and you have the family law lawyer on with you as well, so he could give you a call if you wanted to.
I'm looking forward. Ben usually hangs out with me after Soul Brother Kevin's show. He always is a carryover, but he's actually a design guest tomorrow with Nikki DeBartolo, his ex, and they wrote a wonderful book called Our Happy Divorce, which I am in the midst of reading, and I should be finished with the book today, if not tomorrow, because I wanted to read the whole thing before I saw them, and then thought it'd be nice to have them jointly in with Jason Valkenburg, and of course Jason's a sponsor of the show. He does all our family law, and then he can kind of talk about the dynamics of, because he sees the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Sure.
But I don't know if you had a chance to see the book or read the book yet. It's a great read thus far. I'm about halfway through. Spectacular.
Good. AskTheDom.com if you didn't get through today or we couldn't get to you. Also at AskTheDom on Twitter, or if you want to give him a call over at the office, 813-251-5550. And Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, right here on The Bone. Dom, thank you for coming in, as always.
Great to see you. And Spanish, thank you very much. And my condolences, of course, to Mike's family there. I already reached out to them over the weekend, and hopefully they, I think he's coming back tomorrow.
Yeah, he'll be back with us tomorrow. So we'll work that out. Thank you, Dom. We appreciate it. We're going to take a break. It is the Mike Calta Show. This is 102.5 The Bone.
You're listening to the Mike Calta Show on 102.5 The Bone.